Love, thank you, lovely Sadhguru, is a process of inclusion. Once I include you as a part of me, I will be to you just the way I am to myself. Now, if you're a securely attached, functional adult, enlightenment, soul age group human being, then you will know of how to love because your oxytocin gene hormone will be on and you'll be in a physiological state of compassion, which means you have an integrated brain, and that's integration of the brain. Left and right mode work together, so when sensations arise, you know how to self-regulate your nervous system and not project. And that's in a lot of many different ways that I've seen people instead project. So that in this case is not love. It's a person in their arousal state. They don't know how to self-regulate. They don't even know what their attachment category is probably. And I'm going to say they're not a functional adult and they're not in the Enlightenment Soul Age group. Yes, and that's on a lot of different counts. So what you'll notice in this one, Enlightenment Soul Age group people, they have a default mode of compassion. That is because their brain is integrated, and that is because the right mode, all that emotion and stuff like that, but really in the right mode of our brain, we're able to sit with the unknown. And the left mode, we say, shh, be quiet, verbal brain. So while we're talking to somebody, we're going to be present. And even if you're saying something that my implicit bias, because I got likes and dislikes, my 3-year-old, so I have a whole 3-year-old heart. Let's remember that. And I know my name's Maria. Okay, so as a polite adult with secure attachment, functional adult, and the ability to know what it means to have implicit bias come up, and in fact to know how to be a real spokesperson, because a lot of people, I'm going to say there's a lot of people that I don't see, they don't know themselves. And the only reason they have positions is because there's a bunch of people that also don't know themselves, and they're all connected to the same breadcrumb of trails. So let me put that to the side. And let's go back to what it means to love yourself. Oh, yes, that's right. It's not confusing. So some of us don't have trauma memory to process because we have, as I was saying, a relationship with the right mode of our brain. So we don't do structural dissociation. We don't do a way of projecting my 3-year-old or my teenager or my 11-year-old or my freeze response. In fact, when I have my panic attacks, I'm able to very much straightforwardly handle them, while whoever it is wants to pitch in their ideas on a lot of stuff. And then our 0-1, the attached panicky, and 3-7 shame submissive. So let's not forget any of those. We all have child parts, FYI. Even if you think you're an alien, in fact, actually 4D mystics, they definitely could use the understanding that they're not using the wholeness of their brain yet, because I'm not even going to go there today. So on that note, the brain, I'm using Daniel Siegel's hand model, but I'm not going to explain it. I'm just going to say this is an integrated brain. Here's my prefrontal cortex locked in and loaded and ready to be a grown-up. And look, I didn't even need yoga for it, but I did love learning about yoga. Thank you, Sadhguru. Oh, and I learned from Daniel Siegel how yoga helps to grow your corpus callosum, which connects your left and right mode of the brain. And that's something that gets compromised for people who have attachment wounds or trauma. There's a lot of different ways they'll explain to you how your brain gets compromised. So the developmental trauma happens for people that are 7 years of age and younger. Of course, they don't know any of that, and neither do the people who keep pointing fingers at other people and calling them names like evil, mean, devil, like all this stuff versus, wow, let's learn about being human, and how about you use your brain to be compassionate once you understand that nobody chooses trauma. Yes, but some people do choose how to treat each other. That would be everybody. Everybody. However, some bodies, as I was describing, know how to use their nervous system. So let me go back to the whole 3-year-old heart here. And all of us can have a whole, obviously it's a muscle and it's a figure of speech. A broken 3-year-old heart is a person who has the defectiveness shame. You'll find them rallying up with their group leader to go and yell at somebody else. So whatever it is that they're yelling about, they don't know how to say, wow, we have opinions, how awesome. And we can all go and do what we've always done, which is to create, depending on your country, ways to get things organized. Okay, so there you go. There's a grown-up land emotionally, but we have a lot of teenagers. I call them teenagers because they are reactive. Yes, so their brain is like this, alert, 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 and yes, they're not going to be nice about it because you just did something that's completely not okay with their leader, like being polyamorous, for example. Oh, let's not go there for the mononormative community. Wow. Or how about in the entire polyamory community? I saw this forum, they were criticizing polygamy individuals. And I'm like, wait a minute, but you're polyamorous. Why are you criticizing polygamy? Oh, you don't like it because you're asexual. But that doesn't mean you have to use your I don't like it to judge and be teenagers. I forgot. So again, teenagers like to use their time doing teenage stuff. And those are the relationship and societal soul age groups. So they're busy learning about themselves that way. And in fact, you'll notice how heated they get as they interact in what I consider personally weather talk, because really, at the end of the day, tomorrow you're going to wake up and then you're going to have to do something very systematically. So all of the chatter, not only did you put your body in a complete stressed out situation, but hey, let's not forget the studies that show that people who have trauma, their default mode network only comes online when they're re-traumatizing themselves. So hypervigilance is the mode of a person who has had a household where there was a specific level of dysregulation. And lo and behold, we also just have movies that show people basically waking up in the morning and saying, I'm going to go beat up Bill because he did this thing. And if he looks at me or she looks at me or they look at me, I'm going to go. We got a lot of children out there, and they're not children though. They're grown-ups. So yeah, they're a 3-year-old heart. Definitely a muscle. However, there's a shame button there, and it's not only something that can be pushed, it's being pulled, and they're going together. Yeah, so long story short, the ones of us who don't actually follow the bandwagons, like teenagers, which is, yeah, we're not going to follow those people. They don't know what they're doing, man. They're going to get in a lot of trouble. No, they won't get into trouble necessarily, but they're using their time. They only have 24 hours. Are they really going to use their time? Okay, so we don't do that. We're like, the world, 8 billion people, systems, school, work. I think I got it. It's straightforward. Yeah, I'm going to keep on moving forward because I know where I'm headed. And lo and behold, we don't stop at the temporal junction, I should mention. So when you're in a physiological state of compassion, one, it means I have love for myself, first of all, because I would not be against myself. That's actually self-destructive. Yeah, so it's one of those things, if you are, it's not okay to be self-destructive. There's a reason, and it's called unresolved trauma that you can go and figure out with a good therapist or just with somebody, I'll listen to you, that will let you unload. Then you can talk about it. Oh, and you learn how to become a loving person. But, if you twitch your nose at compassion, just say, no, people are evil and the devil's here, then you're not going to really try anything. Oh, yes, the compulsive habits of drinking, fucking, eating, procrastination, what else? Any substance, basically, that people will have used and learned to use. And some flaunt around like it's the way to live. You got a lot of humor. I'm not humored when I watch people throw their life away, because they could drink moderately. They could do a lot of things moderately, but really what I'm thinking about, they could get their attachment system in check. And thank goodness for the good educators and the good psychologists and therapists and all that. In fact, let's go look for, where are you, lovely Bezel Vanderkolk? I had something very good to share from him, but now I lost it. And I guess that's okay, because we always have something to share. I'll share this one. Deep regrets come with a sense of not being able to move forward. People have often been told that there is no hope on the other side of the door. As clinicians, we first create this felt safety, this validation, and this sense that you are not alone in taking these steps. Ebony Webb. It's not Dr. Bezel Vanderkolk. So Ebony Webb, PhD. Yes, and there's a lot of people. This is getting out of the cycles of shame, guilt, self-blame, and self-loathing, which really would be supportive for the people who want to get out. They have that type of information. For the ones who are yelling about human suffering and a lot of more, fight or flight doesn't always work for us. And this is the whole story underlining trauma. Thank you, Stephen Porges. So while people who are yelling at each other don't move into their prefrontal cortex, which is our adult brain, and use their left and right mode, oh yes, I forgot. Meditation, mindfulness, compassion, interventions, they all work. Corpus callosum, prefrontal cortex, hippocampus, and connectomes, those are all affected by trauma and attachment wounds. And if you learned how to be a human and you cared about your relationships, you'd be very much here already, because it's all available online. I get to share as a mystic woo-woo lady, and I'm pseudoscience lady, but at least we get to live relationships minus the drama. Appreciate your oversoul. They're all awesome, and we're all flawed and imperfect. So the 3-year-old whole heart, we can get other 3-year-olds to know you're a whole heart too. Let's go have fun together, and let's help those who are not here yet to figure it out too. Because humanity, it's our divinity in the absence of all that other stuff.